morning everyone, it's Rachel here and we are doing Roxy's Journal of Stitchery. Now this is pre-recorded because at the time of this video I will be in Australia, so yeah, it's not in real time. However, I wanted to announce the third prompt and I am so excited about this because I have been admiring these ever since I started following on Pinterest. And we are going to do needle rolls or sewing rolls. And we have been inspired by the antique ones. So sometimes they're called also housewifs, which I think it might mean housewives. I'm not sure if anyone can help. So I have this wonderful book called The Pocket, and I'm actually planning on reading it. And I have some of these old ones that the nuns made. They're just hemp and they've got their little monogram there. But this is not what we're making. But I think from my other book that I have, possibly they used to carry around their needle roll and things in there, in these pockets that they used to tie around their waist. But this one, in fact, this one in particular, this book is more about these pouches. However, they had some needle rolls. This is what we're going to be making. Aren't they gorgeous? So it's going to be a long strip that rolls up, and you might have like a little pin cushion in there, and you'll have a place where you slot in your needles, and there'll be some pockets where you can put in some threads and scissors and all kinds of things. And literally you can go bonkers. Now, if you don't have a book, just look up antique needle rolls. I called them needle rolls, but also they did do them, some specifically just for needles, and then they did some that were a combination, which are sewing rolls. So antique needle rolls. Just Google it or go onto Pinterest and search it, and so many will come up and it will blow your mind. So you can literally do anything. So this book only has these two in there. But I also purchased this other book that my sister is going to go into more detail and show you. I had saved it to purchase, and then I forgot about it, and then she purchased it and reminded me, so I got one. And this is it. And it is, honestly, it's worth the investment. I can't remember what I paid for it. Oh yeah, I think it was about €55. So, but I just love this sort of thing. This one will absolutely blow your mind, the things that they did in these pockets. So you wait for Sarah's video. She's going to show you inside this book, but it has made me go bananas, and I now don't know what I want to do because there's just so many possibilities and you can have so much fun with it. But I thought maybe I could make a start on it. I'm wondering, do I want it to be a little bit padded? I think I do. So I'm just wondering about how will it roll up if I pad it. Now I don't want to go too crazy. Maybe that's probably a good length, and maybe I'm just going to wing it. I thought I might get my quilter's ruler out, but that's a joke. I don't think I will. Maybe that's a good width. This is how I work, guys. I literally just do it like this. So I'm going to cut that out. Now, I just wanted to give you a little side note. You know how when, like, I don't know if any of you are quilters or anything like that, or you might use these sorts of wadding for different things. I'm thinking this is a good width. I think I might want to go a little bit wider. Let's go a little bit wider. I'll fix that up in a minute. I'll just cut it like that. What I want to say, when you get little bits of batting, don't throw them away, because you can just slightly overlap them, and you can machine stitch them together to create a bigger piece and then use it. That's what I used to do. I never threw any batting away. Actually, I threw some out the other day because I forgot and I regret it. I had a strip like that, but that could be stitched to another piece, and then you can create a bigger piece, and then you can use that for whatever you're doing. Now, I'm wondering, I just want to see here. I'll tell you how long it is in a minute. Honestly, just do whatever size you fancy. You could do a small one, a big one. Okay, I might make multiple because there's that many possibilities with this. So this one I have cut. It won't be 16. I mean, Rachel, that's just amazing. Very proud of myself. 16 by, let's say 5.5, because that's really wobbly. Now let me just see how it rolls. It rolls up very nicely. Yes, it does, because it's not thick. That's going to be nice. So this is going to be my base. I'm going to have a lining, an inside, and an exterior. So this is going to be quite, it depends on what you decide to do, but it could be quite a labor-intensive project. Now, I'm not going to worry. So I'll just say quickly, I know my sister's going to show you this book. Some of them, I just want to tell you a few, just quick, and I hope she goes through it because that was what we agreed. Some have pockets all the way up. So this one is pocket here, pocket, 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 pocket. Some have a, I'm trying to find an example. Oh, flat pockets. Then some have a, that one has, I mean, honestly, Corrine, you're going to go bonkers. Some have like a pin cushion at the bottom. So others have that, that little pouch that you make. I saw someone had recently put up somewhere on Instagram. I saw a few posts, I don't know who it was, where they'd made the little one that holds your thread, your bobbin or thread in there, those ones, those rigid ones. Others have like a drawstring bag on the bottom. One had I wouldn't be able to find it, but I hope Sarah will show it. If she doesn't, I'll show it. I mean, there's all different sizes. This one has a box on the bottom. Oh, I'd love to make that one with a box on the bottom. This one has like a little pouch. Others have drawstring bags, as I mentioned. This one has, oh, there was another one that has the accordion style on the bottom. That one's a box. And then it rolls up and it's got, I mean, honestly, Corrine, I bet you do the box. Gathered pockets. I mean, there's just so many things. Some had little, there's a little gathered sort of pouchy thing, this one. But there's so many things that you can do. You really can go crazy. Some have little, like you can have, that one looks like it's got the pin cushion and then it's got some felt attached at the bottom. And then it all rolls up, and then these will all be pockets. But others had like little flaps coming out the side like that tie, and then you've got a place, you've got like maybe a band, and you can slide your scissors in, and you could put a, you know, something else in, like you can, yeah, put scissors in there and that sort of thing. So the possibilities with it are endless. I hope you're all going to have, and then then there's embroidered ones. So this is amazing, this book. I want to read it. I'm going to read all of it. I had seen embroidered ones. There was a Italian lady when I used to go to the craft fairs. She used to, she has cross-stitch patterns, and they're like needle rolls. But I won't recommend her because I'll tell you why, and I won't shame her or anything like that by saying her name. I bought many of her cross-stitch patterns because I liked the style. But her instructions, and she writes them in English, and she goes to the Houston, the big Houston sewing thing. It's a quilt thing, but there's cross stitch and all that sort of stuff. And so she does sell internationally, but her patterns, you cannot understand. Like her instructions make no sense at all. Like you literally need to make it up yourself. Like the cross stitch is fine, but the making up of the project, because she had fun projects that she made up with her cross stitch. It wasn't just a cross stitch pattern, but it was actual creating an item. The instructions were shocking. So, and I just can't believe that she, you know, that people haven't complained about it, because for me to complain about it when I'm an intuitive sewer, like I don't actually like following patterns, I was amazed. Anyway, so, yeah, I really don't know what I want to do. I know at the top I'm going to stitch down to create the point. I'm going to stitch these down like that together when I've got all my fabric and everything, and that's going to be a tuck, and then it will roll. Let's see if I've made it long enough. You're probably thinking, oh yeah, we're going to get on and do anything, but we might choose some fabrics, but I still haven't decided about how I want it to be, as you know. That's a very blunt pin. So if I were to roll it up, this is what it's going to be. and then I'll have some button there and a loop. Or no, I might just have a wrap, and that's going to be, but it will be more bulky than that. So probably I need to make it a bit longer. No, I'm going to do a little one because I don't want to bite off more than I can chew. Now, because I loved in that book that Sarah's going to show you the beauty, she told me when she received hers, because she received hers before me, she told me that the fabrics are just gorgeous. So I decided I've got some old fabrics just gathered here. I've just been collecting them over a long time, and I've just tied them up into little bundles. I think I'm going to use really old fabrics for this. If you don't have old, I love this though. I saw this in my trolley, and I'm thinking, what if I were to have that dangling at the bottom? I feel like I might like that to dangle at the bottom. So which brings me to the point, could this be my base fabric for the lining, and then put the old fabrics on there, like cover it? I don't know. See, I've got to make these decisions, but let's just choose some fabric. And I haven't decided what I want to do on the outside. Do I want to do, I'm thinking maybe something, you know, we are doing mostly slow stitching, so I'm not going to do any machine stitching at all. But do I want to, like these are just really old, scrappy, random bits of fabric. But do I want to do like some sort of embroidery? I mean, I already love that. Or that piece. Do I want to do embroidery, or do I want to just slow stitch? I don't know. Oh, I'm already liking this. I just overlap them. Yeah, I think I'm going to do this, guys. It's just coming together. It's coming together as we speak with these very fragile. I think I might like that one inside. It's quite nice there though. Oh, did I finish my sentence? If you don't have any old fabrics, what you can do is take some, there's lots of, you know, quilting fabrics. Yeah, there's lots of quilting fabrics that are, I'm thinking I might like this brown one. Oh, I love that. I'm so excited. Okay, right, I'm going to start, guys. I'm making a start, but I haven't decided the construction inside, what that's going to be. That will be next week. Let's work on the outside first. So this is how I do things. I don't get a ruler. I'll just cut it a bit bigger than what I need, and then I can trim it down. I just cut like this. I lay them on top of each other. I'll cut it actually, I might just rip it off. I'm going to rip it a bit longer than what I actually need. Yeah, so I was saying you can get lots of reproduction, like French General. I'm sure a lot of you know French General. They're very famous. They have beautiful reproduction of the old fabrics, and so you can get those, and you could just grunge them up a little bit, dirty them up a little bit with a little bit of tea or coffee. And you'll certainly get a lovely feel to your piece. So yeah, the old fabrics are quite pricey to buy, so they're not for everyone. But I have just slowly, like this lady doesn't have these anymore, otherwise I would tell you. They were little bundles. I've sort of mixed the bundles up now. They're not exactly how they were. I'm just actually going to rip. Yeah, I'll rip right across. I don't like funny shapes of fabric. I like to rip right across, because then I'll use the other piece. I'm going to use the more faded piece. And again, I'm going to have it a bit wider than what I need. Yeah, she had little bundles, and they weren't expensive. And she had like 3 left, and I said, can I have them all? And but she doesn't have them anymore. I keep an eye out, but she doesn't seem to put any more in. She's actually very expensive otherwise, but these were not expensive. So if she does get them in, I will let you all know. So that is just, I'm going to stitch those together, and I might add a few little scraps here and there. So let's just pin those together, and I'll show you how I'm going to stitch them together. I learnt it from Jude Hill. who I, you know, she's like my Jude Hill is the one that for me, well, I already stitched a bit in a bodgy fashion. Not that Jude Hill is bodgy, but I am. She's very free stitcher. And she's the one that really taught me slow stitching. I bought one of her courses. Although all the things that I show of Jude's, she shows for free on her YouTube channel. I think she's just under Jude Hill on YouTube, but her blog is Spirit Cloth. And she's amazing. And she's the one, as I've told you before, that changed Mum. Mum was, you know, doing stump work and just the most incredible embroiderer. And then she came and we did the Jude Hill course, and she just never looked back. So that is going to be my front. Well, I wasn't expecting to decide that so quickly. So we're going to do this. She recently, well, not recently, but a while ago showed on her YouTube channel. I would never share anything that I've learnt in a course. Sometimes, you know, what is in a course overlaps with what I already do, but I would never share something that's not being shared already for free, if you know what I mean. Like, I'm not going to go and reveal, you know, I've done, well, I have actually never finished any of them. I need to do something. I just watch them. Kelly Mae Krentz, I love her. I collect her courses. I haven't actually made anything from her courses, but I do watch them. And I would never share what she's, you know, taught in her course. Of course, there are things that overlap. So here I just wanted to flip it over and just show you. I saw Jude. So she taught me, I've told you a million times, the invisible stitch. And then recently I saw her, I'm saying recently, but one of the last videos I watched, but it was a while ago. She zigzagged across with the invisible stitch to join her fabrics, which I thought was a very good idea. I would have gone across there and across there, but you can actually just whiz across like this. And then just tiny little stitches that you can barely see. And I'd just jump across, not too far ahead, on the opposite side. So you've got tiny stitches on the front and longer stitches in the back. Then I think my mind, because while I'm stitching, I think, what's next? What am I going to do next? What's my next step? I'm going to, I think I'm going to cantha stitch all of this onto the batting. That's my thought. So it could be a little bit daunting when you start searching for these, but if you're like a, you know, like you just started sewing or something, not an experienced stitcher, you may want to keep it simple and do the flat pockets. And I'll probably put a flat pocket in mine, so I will share how I think that should be done. And of course there'll be many methods, but yeah, I'll share all that sort of stuff. If I had more time, I would do the box. I would have actually made it a bit longer if I was doing the box. If you decide to go down the box road, make it a bit longer because it's going to be bulky and you won't be able to roll it up. So with the box, what I would do is get, you know, just some sort of, you know, well, like what we use, those of us who make journals. Just a minute, I'm just trying to grab a piece for you. I would take this that I use for the spines in journals, and I would measure it and have my 4 sides, so 2 long ones and 2 shorter ones. I'd do the French cartonnage, where you cover it with fabric, and then you just on the sides do a little whip stitch together to create the sides. I mean, I will be making one of those one day. I don't know when, but I will definitely be making one. Corrine, there's a challenge for you. Do one with a box. I'm only saying Corrine because she when we say a new prompt, she cracks me up. She's so she's very creative, and she's very enthusiastic, and it's contagious, and she always comes up with something. I took my pin out, but I shouldn't have. That's a bit out there, which I really enjoy because it's challenging. Now I'm not quite sure where I left off. There, that's good. I'll show you in a second what's happening. It's really just to hold the pieces together. It doesn't really matter because I'm going to cantha stitch the whole thing. So I'm trying to think, how far do I go in this video, this first video? I think we'll just talk about the base. Yeah. So oh no, well, this is the thing. We should all have it clear by now how the project works. We give you the project, that's the prompt, and the rest is up to you. There's no other prompts. It's just like because we're doing the videos and sharing our process, we just divide our process up into the 4 weeks, or in the first month it was 5 weeks. Yeah, we just divide our process up into that. It's not a rule. Like some people surge ahead and finish and can make multiple in a month. But we're sharing, so we have to do our video once a week, and so we just divide the process up, and that's what happens each week. So oh my goodness, I can't seem to get it in the right spot. There we go. So that's what we will be doing with this too. So I'm going to create my base. So maybe I need to think about what is going to be my base on the inside as well. So that's the first bit, and that is not, oops, well it is because I pulled it before I stitch it down, but that, in theory, I'm just going to put another stitch in, is not going to go anywhere. It's now become one piece of fabric. And there, oh, look at that. How did I manage that? Doesn't matter. I'm going to be zigzagging, not zigzagging, cantha stitching anyway. I'm going to cantha stitch with this very fine thread. So that's that piece. I did fancy doing like beautiful wool work, like crewel work or something on the outside, but for my, I feel like this is something that I really am going to enjoy, and I feel like it's one of those things that you probably can't have enough of. Like you could have multiples. So you know, just pick when you go away, pick a different one to take with you. So I am going to probably make more because I think they are super cool. And some of you will have seen these before. So it's not a needle book in the traditional sense of the word. It's a needle roll or sewing roll. And sewing roll in the sense that you're putting not just needles in there, you've got your scissors, you might have a spot for a few threads, that sort of thing. You could put a zipper pouch in. I think I've made one before with a zipper pouch, but not in old fabric. I think I made a new one when I was selling stuff that I made. I have a memory of making them with zippers in. Oh, I know, I made also pencil cases with zippers in, like pencil rolls. I made one for Lulu actually. It's probably downstairs in a box somewhere. And at the end I put in a zipper pouch. You could also do that. So that sort of thing is a bit more technical, like you need to understand, figure out the construction, what you need to do first if you want to do something like that. Unfortunately, we don't have time, like, you know, we don't have the time to be able to do all the different variations, but maybe some of the other ladies that are doing videos will do different variations on it, and they do videos, so then they'll share the process. And to see the videos, other people's videos, you just click on the hashtag in the title and it will take you to all the videos that have that hashtag. I'm not sure if it takes you to ones, I think they need to have the hashtag in the title. I'm not sure, I think so. I'm not quite sure how it works. But yeah, so a lot of fun to be had with this. And of course, it's not obligatory to use old stuff. I just love the look of the old ones. I love old things. That's just me. I've always loved old things ever since I was little. Hence, you know, I studied fine arts in Florence after my degree in Sydney, which was totally random. And yeah, that's really always been my passion, is old things. I love old things. They've got a history to them. I love the look of them. I love, you know, the colours too. You don't have the really bold chemical colours all the time and that sort of thing. I love the washed out sort of look, which I don't always embrace. I quite often, like my pouch was much brighter, I think, than what this is going to be. I'm running out of thread. Now I'm just going to put it down for a minute because I just want to make sure. Let's see how I'm going here. I might just jump across after this stitch because I don't want to change my thread just to the end there. It doesn't, I don't have to have a stitch down there because I am going, as I said, going to be cantha stitching it onto my batting. Oh, itchy eye. So I'll just show you the start of that, and then I may get that done. I don't know what further embellishments I want to put outside on the exterior, not outside, because I never know those things straight away. So they are stitched. This one was already folded down. It's obviously come off something. There's all the threads there, and that I just used, I think that looks like it was the seam, part of the seam. So let's put this on here, and I'll need to pin it. You know, I could be, I'll pin in the center first. I could be tempted to embroider on there, but I don't want to actually. I don't want to cover the beautiful old flowers. So I don't think I'll make any decisions until the cantha stitching is done, and that will take a while. I need to just make sure it's all flat. You could use, there's a quilter's spray, because this is a bit like quilting, isn't it? There's a spray that you can get. It's a quilting spray glue, and it just washes out, and it's, you know, not hard to stitch through. And that's what I use when I was making quilts. I used to spray it, and then it would sort of baste, you know, it would attach the fabric to the wadding, and then you could, better than pins, and then you could quilt it. So I think I'm going to go in rows that way, not lengthwise. So I'll just show you a little bit of that. And in the beginning, I never like it. And then when I start to get more and more rows, I start to like it. I think I'm going to use a milliner's needle. So that way I can go through a lot. I think I'll start around here. So excited about this. See, I can put on quite a bit of fabric there, a few stitches in at a time. So this will take me a while to do this. I'll just sit and do it in front of the TV. I actually pulled these fabrics out yesterday for something else, and I'd been in a bit of a spin about what do I want to do for this. I know I'm not zoomed in, it's just running stitch. What do I want to do for these needle rolls? Because as I said, when I got that book, and also looking on Pinterest too, you can find heaps there. You don't have to buy a book. It's not a pattern book. It doesn't tell you how to make them. It's just It's just a historical book about all the different varieties, how they, you know, the different pockets and things that they did on them. But I didn't know what I wanted to do, honestly, and I was trying to imagine my fabrics and I just couldn't picture it. So, and then I pulled these out and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to use these. Oh, I know what fabric I'm going to use on the inside, because I like the clashiness of it all too. I'm actually just going to go across here. And these are also very old, fragile fabrics. And so I feel like if they're cantha stitched down too, they're not going to go anywhere. In theory. That's my theory. I'm sticking to it. Just want you to get a feel for it. Thanks, Mum, for telling me this, to do it with the thin thread, because sometimes I don't want to do it with a thick thread, you know, like a thicker embroidery floss. This is kind of like I think it's a tatting thread really, or crochet or tatting. It's old and it's quite dull and it's not thick, but it's not like a sewing machine thread, which I probably wouldn't like that as much. Oh, it's nearly time for me to have breakfast, I think. So I think Sanderson fabrics or florally fabrics would be really nice with this. Maybe some hemp could be really nice. But not thick hemp, because if you want to do stitching through it, you'll struggle with that if it's too thick. There are different weights of hemp. Some are like thicker fibers, like threads, but the weave is loose, and then they're still nice to stitch through. But when they're kind of rigid fibers and very tightly woven, those ones I have stitched through them because I like them, but you do suffer. And I noticed that most of them, not all of them in the book, but most of them have a binding around the edge. So I think, you know, I think I will put a binding around the edge, because when you start putting all your bits and pieces on the inside, all your pockets and things, they'll need finishing off on the edges. You'll notice I'm not going right to the edge. I'm just going to where my batting is. Because I may roll that, I don't know. If I'm putting a binding, I might just trim it off. I'm leaving myself options. I've gone a bit further away in that row, but once you get all your stitches in, it's not, you don't notice. But that's what I mean, like when you first start, I think, oh, so I'm not doing a very good job here. And then when you get more and more rows, it starts to get the look. See, I like to start towards the center, because that way it's moving out like that. Because if you start down here, it's you could go wonky. I don't know. I feel like I've always been told to start in the center. Even with quilts, I was always told. I don't know if that's what you do, but because I didn't actually ever have lessons, but my mum always told me to start in the center. And also with when you're basting or tacking, you start in the center, because you push out your crinkles. So I'll just finish this thread, and then we'll start having a think about the lining for the inside. So if you were going to do embroidery, you would do your embroidery in your exterior. I'd work on the exterior and do your embroidery, and then maybe you could do invisible stitch on if you're going to use a batting. So this is nice and thin. I think this is going to be really nice to roll up. Yeah, if you're using a batting, which I kind of, in my mind, I sort of recommend, because if we're wanting to stick pins in and stuff, I feel like if it's a little bit thicker then rather than just 2 layers of fabric, it's going to work better. This is probably one of the projects. We've got another project too that's really super exciting to me. This one I chose, and the other one my sister chose, and I'm really excited about that one too. That's our last week. There's quite a few actually. We're excited about all of them, but this is something I've really been wanting to make for years and never done it. Okay, so that's that. I'm just going to continue doing that. It's going to be all the same up and down. And then I'll decide if I want to put, you know, I might want to come back and add some little bits of fabric here and there. I may want, I'd have to choose. I don't have a lace here that I would like, but I may decide to put a lace. I don't know. I may not. I might not. I don't know. So that's going to be the exterior. Now let's just lay it down here. Just tuck that in, and you can see I'll just trim that off afterwards. I think I've got quite a long bit of this. I think I might use this one. This is a weird fabric. It's kind of feels like it's almost like a flannel. I think I'm going to use that one inside. Yep, I am. It's perfect. So I'm just gonna, it's very fragile, but I've got quite a lot of pieces of this. They were from those rolls. There were quite a lot of them. And so I'm going to use that one. Look at that. It's going to be great. And again, just trim it longer, and then I can shorten it afterwards. Oh, right on the crease there. Perfect. Okay. So that's going to go there. But I'm not stitching that on yet, because I need to, what you then need to do is attach all of your interior bits. Before you attach this here, all of the interior bits need to be, and also you need to finish that, but all the interior bits need to be attached to this. So what I need to remember is this is going to fold down like so. And once I've got the binding on, I do a little stitch like that, and do that, because I saw lots of them were like that. So that's what's going to happen there. I'll just put a pin in. 2 pins in. So this is what I do is to work it out is, and that can be a tuck. I don't know what I'd tuck in there, but I'll could tuck something. Oh, another thought too. I'm giving you lots of thoughts. You may want to take notes. Another thought is, in the more modern ones, you could get, there's those lovely mother of pearl. There's like little, mum's had them before, little hearts. You can get circles, little donut sort of things. You could stitch those on and, you know, loop through your threads in there. That's another thing that could happen on these. So there's so many possibilities of what can happen in the interior. Now mine is not huge. This is what it's going to be like rolling up. So cool. I'll just keep doing it. Oh, look at that. Love it. Okay. I'll put it this way so you can see. But then I'm thinking I am going to have a pocket. So I don't know which fabric will I use for my pocket. I like this fabric too. I might make that a pocket. So I might have to have a think about that. And then, oh no, I was going to do this as a pocket. This could, I absolutely love this fabric. It's very fragile. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I don't know. So I also want to make a little pin cushion. So I'm going to have a little pocket, not too big. I might have a little pin cushion, but I was thinking I might like to add at the bottom the drawstring bag. I might like to add this drawstring bag. So Cantha quilting this. And if I were to make a drawstring bag, what you do is you make your drawstring bag, and then stitch it on. It attaches like that. So then it's even longer. Will it roll up? You just squish it in there. And then I thought I might like to attach that dangly lace too. I don't know. No, maybe I can't. Let me see here. What do I have? This old recycled. This would be nice on this as well. I'm just wondering, just wanting to play with it. Like if I had, yeah, I think I'm going to have a little drawstring bag. So how will I do it with this? Why not? No, I want to do it with something prettier than a ticking. Let me just have a think for a second. I don't want it to be too thick. I'm going into my drawers, guys. Look at this. Wouldn't be a drawstring. This could make a, look at this. I've got this here. This is just vintage. It was a curtain. It's a bit of a curtain. But wouldn't that be it? Oh, not that bit. I want a bit with the flowers. That could be just a pretty pocket, couldn't it? And make it into, I'm going to use that, guys, and then I don't have to do the drawstring. I'll take those off. Did they just, oh look, they just slide out. I'm going to keep those. How cool are they? I didn't know that. I'm just going to put my, this is going to be a pocket, I think. Will I make that into a not drawstring, it wouldn't drawstring, but it would look like a drawstring. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to pause you for a second, or do I need to pause you? I'm just trying to see. I wanted to get a, I want to do like a rounded bottom. A rounded bottom. I just need a piece of paper. Oh, I've got to answer the door. Just a second. Just people trying to sell me stuff. Okay, so here I am. I've made me get up and get a piece of paper. I want to, I've got to work this out. So you just have to bear with me, or you don't have to bear with me. I'm going to fold this over like this. And I want to get, this might not work. I want to get my, about halfway. Yep. No. Oh, but I need a seam allowance, so let's make it bigger. I want to just do a curve. So the way to get it fairly similar on both sides is just to do it like that. That's not deep enough, is it? Let's see. I'm going to hand stitch. I'm not using a machine. Let's just cut that out and see. I may decide to not use that and do a drawstring bag. I just got to work it out. So is this big enough? It is big enough. And if I were to, I would have to cut it out there. And I would what would I back it? Oh, because you're going to be able to see it on that side. So let me just see. Sorry, there's lots of things to consider, aren't there? So if I were to have that like that, I probably don't want that chunkiness there, but I could do my back with the other bit. Yeah, it's going to be pretty. I like all the clashiness of the things. And I reckon they probably, I haven't read the thing yet, but I feel like they probably would have, let's just cut it out and see. It's not the end of the world. I'm going to cut it out. I'm just going to draw with my, now do I want to bring that down a little bit? Now if I do that, then I need to do that for the same. No, I'll do it here. I'm just going to draw it with the pencil because that's going to, that's my seam allowance. I've already added my seam allowance. This is how I do it. I just can't help myself. I'm not a perfect stitcher. I just wing it. I'm going to choose a less interesting spot. Let's just see what happens. Seamstresses, you would die when you see the way I do stuff. I mean, not literally die, you know what I mean. Just freak out. Now, I do want actually something pretty to be poking out the bottom. I think I'll have this. And I need to make it a bit taller because I'll need to fold that down just so it's neat. This may not work, but I'll use this for something else. So let's cut that out. See, this is what I mean. You can just try anything. I mean, if I decided not to use this, I can use it somewhere else. I can pull out all the stitching, stretch the fabric out and use those flowers. It's not the end of the world. It's been in my drawer for goodness knows how long. So let's just cut this out. I just want to see. I'm not going to line it or anything like that. We don't want to add any more bulk. We're just going to work this bit out and then I'll let you go. So I would now need to pin this. Now you can get your sewing machine out and stitch around that. I'm going to hand stitch it, because I reckon they would have been, I'm reckoning a lot today, aren't I? They would have hand stitched. I'm leaving all of that. I could take it off, couldn't I? But that's what's gathering it. So no, I'm not going to take it off. Good thing my brain is working a little bit today. And what I need to do is just fold that down. I could fold it the other way because that's going to stitch onto, that's actually going to be attached here. Let's just stitch around. To hand sew it, I am going to do very small. So if you don't have a piece of curtain like this, this was a leftover piece of curtain, you know, a scrappy piece that I got from somewhere, who knows where, you would gather it yourself, or you might make a drawstring bag. Sarah might make a drawstring bag. I don't know what she's doing. We haven't discussed. So I'm going to put a stitch over there because we don't want it to be opening. And I'm going to do little back stitches. You don't want big stitches because you'll get gaping, it'll gape. Little back stitches. I probably actually have not come in far enough. I have not. I need to come in. I'm going to undo that. I need to come in further. I need to come in to about here, I think. Yeah. Put in a few stitches there. Or one stitch. So about I've done a 1 centimetre seam allowance here. And I'm just eyeballing it. I don't want anything perfect. I'm very curious to see how it works. If it works. So it's a bit thick and chunky here, so I'm just going to show you up close. See, I'm doing little teeny tiny stitches. Teeny tiny. I'm going to go all the way round. I'll pause the camera, you don't have to see that, and then I'll be back. Okay guys, so I'm back. I had a bit of a chat to Sarah and Mum while I was doing my stitching. I've done the little teeny tiny stitches. I'll just give you a tap, make sure you're in focus, around here, a bit like even smaller than my sewing machine stitches. I also just folded down those two bits there and just stitched them down because I thought, I don't know, it might sit better. And I folded down the back. Remember, I left it a bit taller. I just folded down the back and I did a little running stitch along there to hem it. So, oh, and then the other thing is, when you have a curve like this, an outward going curve, not, I can't remember convex and concave, I can't remember which, doesn't matter. When you have a curve like that, it's good to cut out little notches, not to your stitching, just before it, because then when you push it out, it will sort of sit better. You'll get a nicer curve without pointy bits. So isn't that cute? So it's not actually a drawstring bag. It's just a gathered curtain thing, but it's a nice way to recycle. And I'm thinking I'm going to attach this, but I can't attach. You see, you have to think about the construction of it all. I won't be able to attach this. I'm going to attach it at the bottom there, so it's actually going to overhang. So I want to actually be able to see that. So I'm going to stitch it to there, like so. So that's going to hang down. And I won't be able to attach it until I've got my binding. And my other thing is, because it's actually not a drawstring bag and look, it just opens, I think I might stitch a little bit of seam binding on there and there, or two, and tie bows or something. Or I could have even a twine loop and put a button on there. Just a minute, while we're at it, let me see my buttons. I need a small one. I could, no, they're too new. My fabrics are old and I don't want those shiny buttons. But I could maybe choose one of my older buttons and put a button there and have a loop. Then it just loops closed, sort of thing. So that's to be decided if I want to do that. So I'll put that aside afterwards and have that there ready to go. Now, my next thing is I wanted a pocket. I think I'm going to put a pin cushion. I'm going to have a little pin cushion here, a bit like, I think I've got one here, just a minute. I'm going to make one a bit like this one. I'm going to get some old quilt that I have. I think I'm going to make one like that. Not quite as full. I think I'll fill it a bit less so it lays a bit flat, but I've got more of this sort of quilt. So I think I'll do that, but we'll do it all together. So I'm going to have a pin cushion, is my thought. And then I wanted a pocket. So let's just put just pretend it'll be about that size, the pin cushion, and it'll go about there. And then I wanted a pocket, and I love this old fabric, which is quite fragile. So all I did, I've got a piece, I've already got it pinned, but I just folded it to about the height. I actually folded it right sides together, like this, to about the height that I would like. So here it is pinned, and it's pinned right sides together, which means pattern, that's the right side, that's the reverse side. And I'm going to do a running stitch across the bottom, a back stitch. I think I'll do a back stitch, or it doesn't matter, it can be a running stitch. Don't need to do anything down the side. So let's do that. Let's just get some things done. I'll move the pin cushion. I forget to use that. I should use it. That idea came from Charlotte Lyons. She had a free tutorial. I think the free tutorial is on, what's her name? Jean Oliver. I think that's where I watched it. Anyway, or was it in a course? I can't remember. So I'm going to just do a running stitch. And the reason why, I'll just try and make sure it's a little running stitch. The reason why the running stitch is okay is because then it's going to be, I'm going to whip stitch it onto my fabric. Hopefully I'm going straight. I'll probably do a wonky pocket, which would be no surprise to anyone. I just put all these pins in there. I don't really need them all. I'll try to go straight. You could draw a line if you're worried about it. I may put something onto my pocket as well, so I won't be stitching it down or anything like that today. I think we'll work on the rest next week. It's enough for one video. So this is quite a thin fabric, but I think it'll actually be fine because it's going to be a flat pocket that will be held in place when I put it all together. I'll just end that off. Now I need to have a think about this pocket. Now I just turn it out the right way, carefully, because it is fragile, this fabric. I may iron it, I may not. So that's the bottom there. So yeah, probably do need to iron that flat. I will give this an iron off camera. And I think I want it that way. Yeah, this all needs to be ironed flat, but I just wanted to give you an idea. That's going to go there flat. I probably will do some sort of stitch across there. And I may want to like put something on here. I don't know. I haven't decided. But that's a good start, isn't it? For our needle roll. We've got a little pouch made. Very simple. Like if you can do the same method. So maybe make it a bit bigger. You might need to make it wider because if you're going to make this a gathered pouch, that's how small it will go. So you need to make it bigger. If you want like wider, it needs to be cut the other way on the paper and probably almost double, maybe not quite, but almost double the width of that, so it can be pulled in if you want to make it a drawstring pouch. So that is going to stitch there. I've got a pocket. I'm going to continue on with my exterior first, and then we will work further on the interior, and there might be some embellishing. I don't know. I can't decide until I sort of have stitched it a little bit. So I hope you're excited. Have a look on Pinterest or Google them if you don't do Pinterest. If you don't do Pinterest, I highly recommend it. It's a great source of inspiration. Antique needle rolls or sewing rolls are what you look up. I looked up housewifts on Pinterest. Not so many came up. So, and I did look up antique needle rolls, lots come up, and then it's like going down the rabbit hole where you go on one and then there's more suggestions underneath, and you can just keep on clicking and getting suggestions. So have fun with it. If it makes you nervous, do the simple one, these pockets, but deeper. And I noticed they do those pockets all the way up, and they sort of, I've got to just grab a piece of fabric just a sec. They do them, overlapping like that. So pocket, pocket, another pocket, 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 pocket sort of thing. I'll just put this here. So like this, you can have fun with your fabrics if you do that. I mean, I want to do an all pocket one too. Cool. Pocket, 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 like that. That's really simple. You just have to do it like this, put them down, stitch around the outside, put your binding on, and you're done. Bob's your uncle. There you go. All right. I hope you enjoy it, and I will see you again soon. Bye.